Welcome to the experiment number 3 of your physics practical experiment. The title is to compare the EMF of two given primary cells using a potentiometer. Again I am repeating, you can trace on the board. To compare the EMF of two given primary cells using a potentiometer. So first of all we should know what is a potentiometer and what are the two given primary cells. The potentiometer is very simple. A potentiometer is a long uniform wire of manganese or constantum. The wire is fixed on a wooden board in which steady current flows by connecting the two ends of the wire to a source of constant EMF. Now coming to the point, primary cells. As you know, primary cells are those cells which cannot be used again and again once they get discharged. So here in our laboratory we will be using two primary cells. One is your Leclanc cell and one is your Daniell cell. Now we should know what are the EMF of these two cells. Now for example this Leclanc cell, the EMF is about 1.45. It has the anode of carbon rod, cathode zinc rod, the salt here is ammonium chloride, the solvent is water. Means we will add water to the salt ammonium chloride. And we have to immerse the carbon rod and zinc rod in the container containing ammonium chloride water. Now coming to the next cell, that is Daniell cell. Daniell cell has an EMF of 1.08 to 1.09. Anode is copper vessel itself. The copper vessel, the copper container itself is the anode. In the copper container we will be taking copper sulfate pentahydrate, the salt, and the solvent. There are two types of solvent. One is water for the copper sulfate, and we will use one more container to immerse the zinc rod in which we will add dilute sulfuric acid. Take care, you should add always dilute sulfuric acid, not concentrated. Now coming to the point, what is the working principle of a potentiometer? The principle of a potentiometer is very simple. The form of potential along a wire of uniform cross section and carrying a constant current is proportional to its length. For example, for these two cells of EMF E1 and E2, suppose we have to find the corresponding L1 and L2 of the potentiometer wire for which the galvanometer will show no deflection. For example, suppose E1 is the EMF of for cell 1 and the corresponding L1 is the length for which the galvanometer shows no deflection. Similarly, E2 is the EMF of the second cell and L2 is the corresponding potentiometer wire length for which the galvanometer shows no deflection. If you frame it in equation, it comes around E1 equal to some proportionality constant KL1, where K is the potential gradient. Similarly, E2 equal to some constant KL2, here also K is your potential gradient. Now if you use these two equations, we get E1 by E2 equal to L1 by L2, which is your working formula for this experiment. Now coming to the observation table, we can see here, first is your serial number, second is your ammeter reading, third column is your balance point for cell 1. Now you will be using two cells in the experiment, Leclanc cell and Daniell cell. So for individual cells, we have to find the null point for the galvanometer. We have to find the null point length of potentiometer where the galvanometer shows zero deflection or null deflection. We have to find two individual lengths with sound and without sound, and we have to find the mean length. Similarly, for the second cell, we have to do the procedure similarly. We have to find the length for with sound and without sound and the mean of the two readings. And finally, we have to compare the EMF with the corresponding length that we have got from this observation table. Now, some necessary instructions we have to follow while doing this experiment. First of all, deflections in galvanometer in the opposite direction to be checked. Once we connect all the apparatus correctly, you have to see whether the deflection in the galvanometer is in the opposite direction or not. If the deflection in the galvanometer is one-sided, then you have to adjust the rheostat so that the desired current flows and the deflection comes in two ways. Third point, the EMF of the battery should be more than the EMF of the either cell under experiment. Take the length calculation of the potentiometer wire where all the positive terminals are connected in the potentiometer. Means we have to calculate the length of the wire from the potentiometer arrangement from the positive end where all the positive terminals are being connected. Now I will show practically how the different parts are connected, how the different parts are connected in the potentiometer arrangement. Now this is the working diagram. You can see in the working diagram, you can see there is an ammeter, there is a key, there is a source, battery B, and you can see these are the potentiometer wire of different length. Here in the diagram I have mentioned till 0 meter to 0 centimeter to 400 centimeter. Now you can see here, and you can see here E1 is the EMF for the first cell, E2 is the EMF for the second cell. These two cells positive are being connected to one end of the potentiometer. Here the battery positive also connected to the one potentiometer. So potentiometer at one end of the potentiometer, all the three positive terminals are connected. Now coming back to the negative terminal are connected to extreme ends of a two-way key respectively, and the two-way key middle part is connected to the resistance box to the galvanometer, and galvanometer to the jockey to check the null point along the wire for a desired current setting. For a desired current setting, we will find the null point for the individual cells. Now we will repeat the experiment for different current settings. Here you can see ammeter reading. For different ammeter reading, we will find the corresponding balance point for individual cells, and we will find the mean balance point. And finally, we have to see the ratio and compare the ratio with the corresponding EMF that we know from our data for the two cells. Now I will like to show you practically. Now I will show you the arrangement of the different apparatus that are connected in this experiment. Now you can see in this table there is the arrangement for potentiometer experiment, and this is the potentiometer table in which the different wires are, you can see, connected. Each wire is of 1 meter length or 100 centimeter length. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 wires are there. Each wire is of 1 meter of length. Now you can see there are two ends of the potentiometer. One is this end and the other end is this end. Or also this is the end that the wire is connected. Now coming back to the different apparatus of the potentiometer arrangement. First is your battery eliminator. Second is your milliammeter. Then your rheostat. Then you can see the resistance box, the galvanometer. This is a two-way key. Now coming to the point, what are the different cells of the potentiometer experiment? Now you can see this is the container in which we will add ammonium chloride and water for the Leclanc cell. Now you can see this is your ammonium chloride. This is your ammonium chloride. You can see the color of the salt is white. We will add the salt when we prepare the solution. Now this is your copper sulfate pentahydrate. Copper sulfate pentahydrate. It is blue in color. Also it is known as blue vitriol. Now you have seen the two salts for this experiment. Now already I have prepared the salt solution for the respective cells. Now I will show you how to connect the cells to the battery eliminator and to the entire potentiometer arrangement. Now first of all, this is your carbon rod. Immerse the rod after the solution is prepared for the Leclanc cell. So you can see the Leclanc cell container. Then immerse the zinc rod. This is the zinc rod. These two are zinc rods. These two zinc rods are the negative electrode or the cathode for the two primary cells. Now immerse the zinc rod. Now this I will immerse for the Daniell cell. Now this is the Daniell cell container. This is the copper vessel itself, which is the anode. This is the copper vessel. Inside the copper vessel, I have added copper sulfate pentahydrate, the salt, and water. Now we will take one more container to add dilute sulfuric acid. As we know, for the second primary cell there are two solvents. One is for water for copper sulfate pentahydrate, and the other for to immerse the zinc rod we will use the dilute sulfuric acid. Now we will first immerse this container inside the copper vessel, and we will add some amount of dilute sulfuric acid. This will be enough for us. Now be careful in handling this acid, as it's an acid, so you should be very careful. Now immerse the zinc rod. Zinc rod is the common rod, anode rod for both the cells inside the container containing the dilute sulfuric acid. Now coming back to the connection of these two cells to the battery illuminator and the potentiometer. And now you can see this is your battery illuminator. If you stress on this battery illuminator, this is the positive terminal, this is the negative terminal. Now as I told earlier, we will connect the positive terminal of both the cells and the battery illuminator to one end of the potentiometer. So at this end you can see all the positives, positive from the battery illuminator, positive from the Daniell cell. This copper vessel itself acts as the positive terminal for the Daniell cell. Now with the help of the wire it has been connected to here. Now here this carbon rod is the positive terminal for the Leclanche cell. Now with the help of the wire it has been connected to here. Now you can see three wires have come from respective cells, battery illuminator, Leclanche cell, Daniell cell to one of the terminal of the potentiometer. Now these act as the positive terminal for the potentiometer. Now the second element. Now the negative terminal of the battery illuminator will be connected to the negative of the milliammeter. You can see negative of the battery illuminator to the negative of the milliammeter. Then positive of the milliammeter to one end of the rheostat. This is the rheostat. By help of this instrument or this apparatus, we can vary the current flowing through the potentiometer. Now if you slide this rheostat, then we can give different values of current to the arrangement of the potentiometer wire. Now the other end of the rheostat will be connected to the other end of the potentiometer. Now remaining the zinc rods. Now the respective zinc rods of the two cells, will be connected to the two extreme terminals of the two-way key. Now this is a two-way key, as you can see. These two are the extreme terminals. Now one terminal of the two-way key will be connected to one zinc rod of the primary cell. The other terminal will be also connected to the other zinc rod of the primary cell. Now this middle portion of the two-way key will go to one end of a resistance box. This is your resistance box, by the help of which we can give different resistances to the potentiometer. Now other end of the resistance box will be connected to one end of a galvanometer. This is your galvanometer. You can see the other end of the galvanometer will be connected to the jockey, with the help of which we will check the null point for the respective current setting, or for individual cell we will find the balance point with the help of this jockey. Now once we have arranged or we have connected different apparatus of this experiment, how to check whether you have connected correctly or not? You have to check for the two-way deflections of the galvanometer. If after connecting all the apparatus, if the galvanometer shows two-way deflection by striking the jockey at different wire ends in the potentiometer, if you see the galvanometer shows two-way deflection, then the arrangement is correct. If in any case, as I told earlier, if in any case the deflection is one-sided, then by varying the rheostat to a particular current setting, you can bring the two-way deflection of the galvanometer. Now we will practically see the two-way deflection of the galvanometer by switching on the entire experiment. Now I have prepared the same. I have immersed the zinc respective zinc rods and cathode rod and anode rod. Now we will switch on, give power supply to the. Now we will check for the two-way deflection. We will check for the two-way deflection. Now you can see, if you are striking the jockey at one point of the potentiometer, the deflection is in one side. If you strike with some other point in the potentiometer, the deflection on the other side. So we can conclude that the arrangement is perfect or correct, or different operators are arranged properly or in the required manner. You can see at this end also. You can see at this end also. If I am striking, or if I am pointing the jockey at one end of an wire of the potentiometer, the deflection is one-sided, and if I doing the other point of the potentiometer, the deflection is on the other side. So now we are able to take the various balance point for the respective cells for different ammeter reading. Now how to get different ammeter reading? We take care by having this rheostat. We can have different ammeter reading for the entire experiment. Now, for example, now you can see, if you place on this milliammeter, there will be reading from 0 to 500 milliampere. Now, if you see this from 0 to 100, there are equal 10 divisions are there. So each division is 10 milliampere. So now, if you see for this particular setup, the current reading is almost 270 milliampere. But you can give the value of current from 0 to 100, 100 to 200, depending upon your current setting. Now, for example, for this current setting, you can see the current reading is almost 80 milliampere. Now, for this 80 milliampere, again you will check whether the deflection is two-sided or not. Yes. Now we got one-sided. We will touch here. Okay. Now you can see for 80 milliampere, the deflection is one-sided. If we touch at any point of the potentiometer, the deflection is one-sided. Now here we will follow the instruction. Now we will slightly increase the current value. Now I will increase the current value to some extent. For example, it is almost 160 milliampere. Now I will check again the deflection. Now at this point deflection is one side. Now yes. Now I have reached the condition for the two-way deflection of the galvanometer. Now, as I told earlier, if the deflection is one-sided, you have to vary the rheostat setting and the current setting to get the desired two-way deflection of the galvanometer. Now, how to take the reading? It's very simple. Now, you can see here, it is a two-way key. Means if one key is open, then the current will flow in only one cell. Now, how to determine in which cell the current is flowing? Now, suppose you can see, I am opening this knob of the two-way key. Now check for which zinc rod is in the circuit or which cell is in the circuit. Now, if you see for this Leclanche cell, this part is open. So in this circuit, there is no current flowing through the Leclanche cell. So all the current is flowing through the Daniell cell. You can see. If I close this cell and open this, now I can see the entire current will be flowing through the Leclanche cell because this part of the cell is open. Now, like this way, we can manage for the flow of current in a particular cell. Now, I will take the reading for Leclanche cell first. For Leclanche cell, for current setting of 160 milliampere, now I will get the null point. I will get the null point. Now, first before taking any reading, you have to check for the two-way deflection of the galvanometer. Now this is, yeah, now you can see there is two-way deflection of the galvanometer. Now you have to check for the null point. Now like this way, slight tapping on the potentiometer wire, you can check for the null point. When you get the desired point at which the galvanometer shows zero deflection, you have to take the reading. You take the reading. Now slightly increase the current a little bit. Now here I will see, this I am observing that at this particular point I am noting the null point. At this particular point I am noting the null point. Then you have to take the reading from the potentiometer. Now as I told earlier, you have to take reading of the potentiometer from the positive end of the potentiometer. Now here, since at this point all the positive terminals are connected, so all the reading will be from this terminal. Now you can see here, it starts from 0, it ends at 100 centimeter. Then again from here it starts from 100 centimeter, ends at here 200. So all the even and all the odd you have to mark. And this is the odd wire, 100. This is your odd third wire, this is 300. This is your fifth wire, this is 500. This is your seventh wire, this is your 700. This is your ninth wire, this is your 900. Now all the even wire, all the even wire will be 200. Even will be this side 200. All the odd wire ending will be this side 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. Now the even wire will be here. This is 200. This is 400. This is 600, and this is 800. So for each particular cell, you have to find width sound. Suppose for this particular cell, we are finding the null point. Then again for this particular cell, we have to find width sound, a null point, by tapping the jockey on the potentiometer wire. Again, go to the first cell and open the first cell and close the second cell, Daniel cell. Then you find the null point for this cell. Find the null point for this particular cell. Find the null point. This is without sum and with sum. So for each particular cell, you have to find the balance point with sum and without sum. And so you have to take two simultaneous reading of the balance or null point for the particular cell, and we have to find the mean of that two readings. We will take some 3 to 5 set of readings for particular cell, and we have to find the mean of the length, and we have to compare the ratio of the individual length L1 and L2 with the data of the EMF that we know earlier. Now coming back to the tabulation table, this is a observation table for this experiment. As I made it earlier, it contains various columns like serial number, ammeter reading, balance point for cell 1, E1, balance point for cell 2, E2, and finally the ratio of the two cells balance point is compared with the ratio of the EMF of the two cells, as already mentioned. Now you can see in this ammeter reading column, I have taken different current setting in order of differences of 5, 20 milliampere, 25 milliampere, 30 milliampere, 35 milliampere and 40 milliampere. All the current reading will be milliampere and this length will be in centimeter. In centimeter, in centimeter, in centimeter, also in centimeter, in cm, since it is a proportion, so it will have no units, only a number, decimal number. Finally, this column will contain the comparison of the ratio of the length that are obtained for individual cells law points with the ratio of the EMF of the two respective cells, that is the Planck cell and Daniell cell. Now you can see, for example, in case of 20 milliampere current setting, the null point for Leclanche cell, here cell 1 will refer to Leclanche cell and cell 2 will refer for Daniell cell. The null point for is 664 centimeter. Again, for particular cell, we will find two length, corresponding length, and we will take the mean of the term. Similarly, for this cell also, Daniell cell will find two corresponding length and will take the mean of the two lengths. Finally, we will take the ratio of these two lengths. This is L1 and this is L2. Similarly, for different current settings, we will find out individual lengths and find their mean and will compare the ratio. This will be L1, this will be L2. Finally, in the last column, you can see we have different ratios of the length, valence bond length for particular current setting for Leclanche cell and Daniell cell respectively. And finally, of these 5 observations, we have found the mean ratio of the length L1L2 is about 1.302. If you see the EMF ratio of the two cells, Leclanche cell to Daniell cell, it comes around E1 by E2 that equal to 1.3. You can see it is approximately, almost, it is equal to the ratio of the EMF of the two cells. So you can write, hence we compare that E1 by E2 approximately equal to L1 by L2. There is slight differences, but the differences can be negative. So I hope all of you understood the experiment, and we will see the fourth experiment in the next class.